This program is brought to you by Emory University.
You have no idea what you're dealing with.
It's a very humbling experience to come face to face with an adult male lowland gorilla. And it's something that's happened to me many times in my life. It's something I never get used to. You smell them before you see them, and they're typically in an area of the forest where there's quite a bit of undergrowth. They have a very characteristic bluff. So while the family of that male gorilla is moving to safety, moving away from the threat, that male charges toward the perceived threat and starts beating his chest and moving very quickly perpendicular to the threat. It's a very characteristic bluff. So they put a leaf between their lips, they beat their chest, and they move back and forth in front of the threat at very close proximity. So they're just in front of you. You can smell their breath at times when they're doing this, and it takes all of your strength away. So it's a very humbling experience. If you're an arrogant explorer who thinks that, you can tackle any demon or whatever's out there, they're looking at this as a ferocious animal that they're going to defeat. But they shoot it before there's the opportunity for them to see that it's just a bluff. No one has been killed by a gorilla in any case where they didn't provoke the gorilla. So from everything that we know from wild studies of apes, the types of characteristics that we're seeing in the animals in Planet of the Apes is very, very far from any reality that we could ever imagine. There's a misconception of what a gorilla is. Gorillas are extremely peaceful animals. They're 100% vegetarian, so they're huge and bulky without eating any meat, and they live in a family group that basically keeps to itself. There are cases where, in chimpanzees, for example, we've seen warfare take place, where groups have gone after each other. But what we've found out, looking back on those experiences, is that a lot of those things happened because we intervened. We went in there and fed a bunch of bananas to the animals. They changed their ranges. They got accustomed to getting bananas. And then when we walked away and stopped giving them bananas, all of a sudden they needed food and they started fighting over where they were going to get the food. So we've created a sense that they're more aggressive in some cases by doing things like that. The biggest issue that is counter to the theme of Planet of the Apes is that you wouldn't see apes expanding their population to a magnitude that would be greater than that of humans in a very short period, allowing them to dominate us in some way. Their social structures are such that we don't see them producing an infant every year like a human could do. It's very possible, and in some cultures normal, for a woman to have a child every 11 to 15 months. Whereas with the apes, it's typically 4 to 5 years between each offspring. So you're not going to see a gorilla have a baby and then a year later have another baby. It's going to be about a 4 or 5 year interval. So right now we're dealing with numbers where we have a few 100,000 lowland gorillas. They're the least endangered of the apes. A few 100,000 chimpanzees. I mean, we're talking about the total number of animals of the species on the planet being less than a city smaller than Atlanta. And then when you think about how fast they would have to increase to take on proportions to rival humans, it's just not feasible.
The preceding program is copyrighted by Emory University.